Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. Are you ready to rip and tear your way through a brand new game called Doom? I can barely even remember when Doom came out. I know, it's really, really sad, isn't it? But now you can play Sergeant Mark IV's Brutal Doom. Version 19 of this mod was just recently released, and I'll be playing this with Doom 2, as well as the gzdoom interpreter, which is one that works pretty well. Installation for this stuff is actually pretty simple. And it was something that surprised me because I was a little bit put off by the idea of like modding something like Doom because like, oh god, what do I have to do to even get it running? Turns out, no, it's very easy. Just install Doom 2, took the WAD file from the Steam folder, put it in a separate folder, put gzdoom in there, and then just put the Brutal Doom WADs in and dragged it in, and away you go. It's really that easy. You just drop the mod on top of gzdoom, and then it loads it all automatically. And my god, have they really cranked up the options that you can now put into Doom. So much stuff with display. You'll notice a lot of particle effects and things like that that you can actually change here. You can mess around with the OpenGL options to the point of having huge amounts of customization, as you can see here. And I've put on some trilinear filtering. I have anisotropic filtered the game, as well as put high quality resize on. So I didn't really want to go for the 3D models because I've played some of the Doom modifications that have 3D models and they just look awful. I like the sprites, but I want them smoothed out a little bit while still kind of retaining their original feel, which is what I feel this does pretty well. And of course, they've changed the controls around because this version of Doom, along with many of the other interpretations of it, does have mouse look, and you will be aiming quite a lot in this. So, let's play Doom. Why not? Let's actually have a look at Brutal Doom. So, you've got a lot of different difficulty levels here. There used to be, I believe, 5, that being Nightmare. There's 2 more after that. We're going to start on full Ultraviolence, which would be, I think, I Am Death Incarnate, which would be the highest difficulty before Nightmare, which is the one, in my opinion, you should be playing it on because it's a challenge, but it doesn't have respawning enemies and nonsense like that. You want to play it on Black Metal, you end up with 50% bonus damage, respawning enemies and faster moving enemies, and it's a little bit messy. So full Ultraviolence it shall be. Here you go. Welcome back to Doom 2. It has been a while. I still remember where this chainsaw is, so there we go. So, why would you use Brutal Doom? Well, there's a few reasons. They have, well, there's more than a few reasons. They've done a lot to it. Like, for instance, there are some executions. They don't happen all the time, don't worry. And you've also got a kind of a viable melee system. They've replaced the pistol with an assault rifle that actually has aim-down sights. This mod has headshots in it, which is a really interesting and strange feature because it doesn't really feel Doom-like, I suppose. And I think that also might be why they've put some additional difficulty levels in, because if you headshot a lot, especially with this weapon, you kill enemies a lot faster than you would perhaps necessarily expect. Aim down sights is definitely a possibility, but you don't have to do it. I mean, if you've got your crosshair up, aim down sights is more often than not just a waste of time because you'll end up moving slower and be easier to hit. But it's interesting that they decided to put that feature in there. I know a lot of Doom purists are already saying, why on earth would they do that? They've ruined everything. No, I don't think so. It's just, it is a reinterpretation of what Doom actually is. Now, you'll notice that obviously there's a lot of improved texture work here and there, but you're still using sprites for the most part, which is good. You've got particle effects in the game, which I certainly feel improve it, but you don't lose that kind of authenticity that it had previously. And the strange thing about it is the mod has so many changes to it, but none of them are, I suppose, massive, that it still feels like a bit of a new game, having not played Doom, of course, in a long, long time. What it feels like to me is that they've kind of pleasantly modernized it, but not gone overboard with the level of modernization, which is good. And yes, the mighty boot is in there, just for the hell of it. Wow, I'm already so close to death. I better go back and see if I can find some health. They weren't kidding when they said Brutal Doom, by the way. They are not messing around when it comes to the difficulty level of this game. It is tricky. It is very tricky indeed, and this is not the highest difficulty either. But it feels pretty damn great, I've gotta say. It's funny, really, when you look at Doom and then you look at modern shooters, and I know I'm gonna start waxing lyrical about old school shooters again, and you think, well, you know, was Doom really, like, the pinnacle, I suppose? Was it really as good as people claimed? And then you polish up a bit of it here and there, you give it a little bit more speed, you put on some more modern music, and maybe you polish up the textures just a little bit, and you suddenly realize, oh yeah, this game is still absolutely phenomenal. It really, really is. It's actually great fun, and it continues to be to this very day, because really the only stuff that actually aged in terms of Doom was the presentation and the actual combat, yeah? The idea of not being able to mouse aim is very, very old, but they fixed that pretty quickly. So you make some improvements here and there, and suddenly the game just feels vibrant and vital again. And that's so impressive that a mod can do that. There are some changes that I'm not necessarily all that keen on. The fact that you actually have your weapons, for the most part, holding magazines means that you are trying to keep track of how many bullets you actually have in your mag, but it doesn't tell you. The ammo count only counts the stuff that you haven't put in your magazine yet, so that could be a little bit awkward. This happens with a shotgun as well, which can actually be even worse, because the reload time of the shotgun, as you might imagine, is pretty long. Now, you can bind reload, but it's not bound by default, which is interesting. I guess rather have the game do it, which I don't think is a particularly good idea. Because of this, you know, you run into, say, a shotgun enemy, especially on this difficulty level, and you suddenly realize you have to reload because the game has no way of telling you that, as it was never a part of the UI, and you die, you know. So it's a bit of a strange choice, I suppose, for functionality there, but it's damn cool. It feels modern in a pleasant way, which I know sounds bizarre, really. If you're gonna play Doom, you're probably playing it because you thoroughly reject all the tenets of modern shooters, but no, I don't think you necessarily have to. It's not like every modern shooter is dreadful and everything that they've done is awful. It's not. Absolutely not. But a lot of what they do is the antithesis of what I've always enjoyed from FPS. And this is visceral, skillful action. And it feels so good, and I think like the modifications to the way that enemies just come to pieces in Brutal Doom really helps there. Every single kill feels fantastic, because the enemies just melt. They come into pieces. You can do things like curb stomp them if you want, which, you know, is a little silly, and also you can even tell them to go fuck themselves, which again, a little bit puerile, but we are talking about Doom here. It was hardly a literary masterpiece. Hello, Mr. Nice Big Pink Demon. Come on. Come on. Get in here. Come on. Where'd he go? There we go. Oh, man. That feels fantastic. It really, really does. And it's strange that they just got rid of the pistol weapon and they made it something which I feel is pretty viable by putting the headshot system in. The assault rifle's actually good. You know, it's a legitimately good weapon. I'll be down if I can remember where all the secrets are in this game. And I didn't actually play that much Doom 2. I played a lot of the original Doom, but Doom 2 not so much. You dead yet? Looks kind of dead, doesn't he? There we go. Oh man, it's just blood dripping all over the walls everywhere. It's special, man. It really is. It's kind of joyous to be able to just play a game like Doom again and not have to worry about the idea that I'll have to mess around with config files or try to get it working properly on modern systems and then just be put off by the way that the game actually handles. And that's perhaps the most impressive part of Brutal Doom, is that it feels like Doom, but it handles in a way that's just a little bit more modern and more pleasant to deal with. And this is the work of one guy, which I think impresses me even more, honestly. Alright, let's see if we can make our way through there. I do have the red key cards. Here we go. I don't remember these levels being this long, honestly. Apparently they were. Alright, that's activated. That's activated. I guess we're going through the other way. I should probably just use the map. That would help, wouldn't it? It's like, oh yeah, games have maps. They don't just point you in the direction you're supposed to go. It's funny, that. Doom's maze-like levels were always things that impressed me. I've talked about like the maze-like nature of Duke Nukem. And of course the fact that Duke Nukem 3D's design was done by Levelord, who was just a bloody legend in his own right. But Doom was equally maze-like, you know, we're talking about very complex designs. The kind of thing that would confuse people greatly without green arrows these days. But nothing that a good look at the map won't solve. And it was interesting. It really was. Because it wasn't just a case of gunning down everything. A lot of people view Doom as a dumb shooter. I think we all remember the infamous Edge remarks, if only you could talk to the monsters, and so on and so forth. That kind of nonsense. But In comparison to today's shooters, the dumb shooters of old are a hell of a lot smarter than you might think. And mostly just in the level of expectation that they have of the player. They expect the player to be able to figure things out. They expect the player to be able to navigate their way around things. And it's a fair expectation, I feel. But these days, perhaps not so much. Alright, what's the best way out of here? Let's get a little bit dark from time to time. A flashlight. We go back to the problems, I suppose, with Doom 3. A flashlight would be wonderful, wouldn't it? There we go. Oh, I'm stacked up on the weapons right now, so that's always good. The music mod that I'm using, by the way, doesn't come with the... Hello! Doesn't come with the game by default. You'll have to download that. It's available on the ModDB page for it. It's the Brutal Doom Metal mod, which I think is kind of required because, honestly, as much as I love the original Doom music, it does not sound good right now. It doesn't. I know there's some iconic themes, but nothing wrong with modernizing music just a little bit while keeping the theme. And I think, yeah, that's in keeping with what Brutal Doom actually does as well. This idea of modernizing some parts of the game. I like how I just shrunk there. That's pretty hilarious. The idea of just, like, modernizing some parts of the game without compromising the vision of what Doom was. You know, I wonder if at the time this level of technology was available, if this is the kind of thing that Carmack and Co. would have actually gone for. That's certainly a possibility. I suppose there are arguments as to what the expectation of this game actually was, and whether or not this level of brutality was even intended in any way by the original developers, but that's the wonderful part of modding, isn't it? A part of history can suddenly come back in a way that's genuinely enjoyable to play, and this is not just a nostalgia trip. I think that's the thing to take away from it. When you play Brutal Doom, it is not for a nostalgia trip, it's because, yeah, the game's actually fun to play. Still, you know, and the modifications that they've made to it have made the game stronger. And they have very much made it a game that I actually want to play all the way through, because I'm just having fun with it. And it's not through some ridiculous rose-tinted spectacles. I know some people argued that that's how I was thinking, perhaps, with Shadow Warrior, when I played Shadow Warrior Redux. And, you know, to some degree, they might have been right. But when you think about it, this is not the same Doom. This is a Doom that they have modified and improved over time. And it really is like a whole new game. And level design in this kind of situation never gets old. It doesn't. It was just well-designed levels across the board, and there's really no arguing with that. Hello. Off with the face, thank you very much. I think we'll just try and assault rifle them from over here, actually. Strange that I'd do this against pinkies, but there you go. Nice. Oh, so much for that idea. Down he goes. I would strongly suggest that you all try it. Getting the WADs for this kind of stuff is not that difficult. I know a lot of you probably bought, say, the Doom Complete Pack at some point on Steam. You can use the Doom or the Doom 2 WADs, I believe, to run Brutal Doom. And I think you will have a huge amount of fun with it. I really do. It's a very easy installation. Download the program gzdoom, which is the interpreter. Put the WADs in the folder. Put Brutal Doom in the folder. And then drag it on and have a good time. You might need to mess around with the options menu just a little bit. As I said, for the graphics, I put on things like trilinear filtering and anisotropic and HQ models and things like that. And I put on particle effects for a lot of things. I put on the combination sprite and particles for a lot of it as well, which is good. Because I feel, you know, some of the original sprites are nice, and going straight for particle effects on everything is not necessarily the best of ideas, but... yeah, and get yourself the metal music as well, because I think you will like that an awful lot. Brutal Doom, ladies and gentlemen, it is just so much fun. It really, really is. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it. You should definitely try it out. Don't dismiss it as an attempt to recapture a bygone age, some kind of ridiculous nostalgia trip. Treat it as what it currently is. If I were to assess this right now, let's say that this wasn't even Doom, right? If I were to assess this right now with the current batch of shooters on the market, didn't even know what Doom was, and I'd say, you know what? Oh, this is a really nice indie shooter. Graphically pretty weak, but my god, does the combat feel satisfying. There's loads of enemies, the level design is so very good. Thank god I don't just have to go down a bloody corridor. Thank god for that. How amazing is it that a game is actually offering that in this day and age? That's the kind of thing that I would say. Oh, yeah. Man, they really improved the minigun as well. Feels fantastic. Just eviscerates people. Brutal Doom is awesome. If this came out as a game, I would buy it and be happy with it. As it stands, it's free. As long as you happen to have a copy of the original Doom 1 or 2. Do it. Just do it. Rip and tear, ladies and gentlemen. You will have a lot of fun with it. This guy is a legend. I don't believe that he did all of this on his own. It feels so fantastic. So there you go. There's me hype. Go get this. It's free. You have no reason not to. My name's been TotalBiscuit. Thank you very much for watching. A little bit of Brutal Doom. I'll see you next time.